Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. Beyond measure.
I'm gonna show you how great I am. Last night I cut the light off in my bedroom, hit the switch, was in the bed before the room was dark. I'm gonna show you how great I am. Only last week I murdered a rock, injured a stone, hospitalized a brick. I'm so mean I make medicine sick. I'm gonna show you how great I am.
What is going on, guys? Sorry about the delay. Damn, 6.5 minute delay. I apologize, guys. My OBS has been on the fritz, and I should have tested all this ahead of time. Thought I had it all set up. I was going in there and doing my thing, but whatever. Here now. That's all that matters. Cheers, everyone. Get a little head on my beer here. Cheers, everyone. Head on my mustache. That's what she said. Anyways, you want the mug, or the glass. You want the glass? JD's2cents.com. You want the shirt I'm wearing? Proud, straight, Caucasian, conservative Christian male. I'll show you the back too. I don't usually do this, but there's JD's 2 cents on the back. I don't know if you guys saw that. I couldn't tell. I'm fat. But anyways, just hop over to the website. You can get the shirt as well. JD's2cents.com has all my links. Let's jump right in, because not only am I late, but I have a good video for you guys to watch. This guy, it amazes me how quickly he put this together after the assassination attempt. What a weekend, huh? So even more applicable today. 99.99% of the things you worry about will never happen. Thank God the worst didn't happen on Saturday. I heard Trump went and golfed the next day because that was his plans. What a badass. And he's in Milwaukee on schedule. JD Vance, cheers to you, fellow Marine. Honorably discharged, as were you, sir. I'm assuming that since you're now going to be the next Vice President of the United States. Anyways, yeah, this is a great video. There are some points where I will pause it and throw in my 2 cents, and then I want to hear from you if anyone's here. Hear what you guys have to say. The X space is open and live, so I have that up. I have the chat window up. I'll just put the website in there. You'll see it pop up right up here. Boom. Okay, so anyways, guys, it looks like I have 2 viewers. Welcome, everyone. I hope you can stick around and share your 2 cents. Go ahead and share your 2 cents now, because it's only us. Usually I'll do my monologue and all that beforehand, but that's with a larger crowd, and I'm not there yet. So I would love to hear you guys' 2 cents in the chat. Also, you can call in live, 720-72-cents, 720-72-cents. You'll see it down in the ticker, the number, 720-722-3687. Also, the X space, which I already said, but I'll just bring it up here so you can see it. There it is. I'm waiting in there all by my lonesome. So if you're on X and you want to pop into the X space, go ahead and do so. With that, let's jump right in, guys. 10 minutes after we should have. Everything happens in God's perfect timing. Cheers to that, right? Cheers, cheers, cheers. Okay, so here's the video. Again, I will be pausing it periodically just to throw my 2 cents in.
A shooter fired multiple shots at former President Donald Trump in an assassination attempt at a rally in Pennsylvania. One of the bullets struck Trump in the ear, causing him to quickly take cover behind the podium. We can see within 3 seconds the first line of Secret Service defense jumped into the line of fire, creating a shield around him with their bodies. This is not a political video.
I do want to pause right here. The men and the women. Okay, I know there's a big argument out there about DEI already. We'll get to that. But those men and women that threw themselves on top of President Trump are heroes. And I want to salute them now with a drink. Cheers to you. Put your life on the line for him, and you guys are badasses.
The purpose of this is to examine the assassination attempt using open source intelligence methods and expert analysis from law enforcement officers. Lieutenant Tim McMillan, retired law enforcement officer who has extensive experience having worked 5 presidential details in the past, said this on X. They basically formed a bulletproof barrier around him. They didn't let him stand up until after they knew the shooter was down. They would have gotten communications through their radio devices in their earpieces confirming this. At this moment, the agents are not just protecting Trump, but they're also checking his body for additional injuries and assessing his condition to see if he's ambulatory or not, to see if he can move on his own. Because when someone's adrenaline is pumping, shock can prevent them from knowing if they have multiple injuries. It's actually...
And that is very true as well. So, what they're trying to do, and Trump is fighting them. He's a big dude. He's like 6'5", I think, 6'6", 6'7" even. I've seen him in person. He's an imposing dude. And they're all mostly smaller than him. All of them, actually. So, how many are there? 1, 2, 3, 4 there in that shot. There's more than 4, though. There were like 8. They're literally trying to drag him off the stage while keeping him in a human flesh cocoon at this point. And he, the first thing he says is, "Let me get my shoes," because they hit him so hard, they knocked his tennis shoes off. I mean, they were doing their job. They were on point. And so there is that, and people aren't talking about that enough. Okay, you got to give credit where credit's due. A big reason, well, I shouldn't say a big reason. There's no reason at all because it was a lone shooter. Well, we don't know that though. There could have been another in the crowd. You never know, guys. So there could have been another that's somewhere else that just pussed out after the first wave happened. So they did their job. They did it very well. These people, the first reactors there, the first responders, the first wave. I don't know what the technical term is for it. I'll shut up now.
Not their job to return fire immediately, and that's because, meanwhile, the Secret Service counter sniper team, located here on this rooftop, returned fire within moments and eliminated the gunman here 130 meters away with a shot to the head. About 16 seconds after the shooting first started, the final gunshot can be heard, presumably from the counter sniper team. Tim McMillan put it this way, saying, quote, "People have wondered, how could the counter snipers in the video not have seen the would-be assassin prior to him getting off a shot? This is because the area of responsibility for those counter snipers on the roof behind Trump was very likely in the extended tier. Essentially, they..."
Now here, I don't know if I agree or disagree with this. I'm not a professional. This guy is quoting a law enforcement professional, a police officer. Take that with a grain of salt. I haven't vetted this police officer either. However, excuse me, as he goes on, that's what I get for trying to drink and talk at the same time. I can drink when I'm not talking. Come on, you alcoholic. I'm joking. Not an alcoholic, I just love my beer. Anyways, the point he's making here, and he clarifies it later on, so I'll make this brief. He's saying that in that red ring there, they're not looking at that because that's covered by other agents. So I'll just sort of let him cover that, but that's sort of the point he's making. He makes it badly here at first, but he cleans it up later.
Were scanning for threats a great distances well beyond the roughly 150 meters the threat appeared. This is evidenced by the fact that the elevated counter sniper has to dramatically drop his line of sight to respond to the shooter. 27 seconds after the first shot was fired, we see the next line of defense reach their positions. Members of the Secret Service more heavily armed counter-assault team, seen here in full black uniform, sporting SR-16 suppressed rifles, establish a security perimeter on the stage. They're looking for potential threats that are close quarters.
We never see these guys, okay? They are never supposed to be seen. This is how serious this was, guys. This is how serious Saturday was. These guys are always out either under the stage, just sitting there, you know, just waiting. They are never seen by the public. When I went to see Donald Trump as a candidate back in 2015, Colorado, may have been 2016, but yeah, it was probably 2016 by that point. But and I forgot about this, but he literally, this is how much of a badass Trump is, man. He came from Utah that same day, another rally in Utah. He was doing multiple rallies a day at that time. He doesn't need to do that anymore because of his notoriety. But sorry if you hear the automobile noise in the back. My neighbor's doing work on his car. I live in an RV full time, so you will hear some noise from time to time. Just what it is. And I'm glad he's working on his own car. I do the same thing. So kudos to him. Cheers to him. Anyways, there's a rabbit trail. Yeah, he's changing his tire, rotating his tires. I do the same thing. Not supposed to here at the RV park, but who cares? Like, if it's during normal daylight hours, it's all good. So, anyways, what I was saying is I never saw these guys. They were there. Well, actually, they weren't there because he didn't have Secret Service then. Interesting. Anyways, let's get back to it, guys. I'm talking way too much.
We can see them scanning the up-close rows of the crowd from 0 to 100 meters because they know the counter-sniper teams are scanning for threats beyond 100 meters. We can see the agents in multicam set up security facing the rear, which shows the tactical discipline of this team, because not every single agent is facing the direction of the incoming fire. There's a natural tendency in human beings to key in on and get tunnel vision on the direction where shots are coming from, but it takes discipline to establish that 360-degree security.
That's another really good point. And you see them doing that there. So not only was the first responding team on point, they did their job flawlessly. Also, the second wave there that we see now with the assault weapons, fully automatic probably, with full body armor, they're looking every single direction. Because remember, no one knows. When I was broadcasting on Saturday, passively, I was preparing dinner. You can see this video. I posted it on my X, but also it's easier to access on my YouTube if you want to go check it out to see my reaction. Scrambling to get on air. You see me putting my green screen down and everything. So you see my shitty, trashy background and everything. You get a little glimpse behind the curtain, so to speak. Anyways, another rabbit trail. Yeah, these guys were on point. They were doing their job. And so the first wave, second wave, they all were very well trained and doing their job perfectly.
Is this necessary? Because they don't know if there might still be another threat out there at this point. Secret Service CAT teams were originally established in 1979, and this is...
And that's what I was going to say. They don't know if there was another threat out there at that point. I didn't know. No one knew. No one knew this was a single shooter. No? And there could have still... Who knows? There could still be people out there that were at the rally with a gun, and they chickened out once they started seeing Secret Service go into action. I do have my negatives about Secret Service coming up, but I want to do it at the right point in the video.
This is the first time in history that I believe they've responded to a shooting incident involving a former or current president. Trump then told his security service detail to wait. He raised his fist and pumped it at the crowd. He shouted, "Fight," as the crowd.
How badass. This image is going to go down as one of the most iconic images in United States history. Period. I don't care who you are. I don't care how much you hate Trump. This image is going to be in history books for hundreds of years to come. If our country survives that long. I don't mean to be a pessimist, but yeah, if we don't turn back to God and get right with God, start reading our Bibles again, it may not be hundreds of years. So there's that. But this guy is an American hero. And, I mean, just look at him. Guy just got shot seconds ago. And this is how he reacts. Would you react this way? Would I react this way? You never can say until you're under it, until you're in the middle of it, right? That's how he reacted. This is the real Donald Trump. So for all you fuckers out there that hate this guy, and especially all you fuckers that are saying that you wish the bullet would have hit its intended target, first of all, you're breaking federal law. Second of all, fuck you royally. You are a deranged piece of shit. You saw the true heart of this man right here. He didn't care about himself, his safety, his well-being. Even he doesn't know that there's not other shooters around there, and he chooses to expose himself again, raise his fist, and say, "Fight, fight, fight." And how did the crowd respond? USA, USA, USA. That crowd, too, bunch of heroes. I didn't see one person run. Not in the background, anyways. What does that say about those people that were there? They are courageous Americans that are fed up with this bullshit that we're living in. Enough said. And cheers to Trump, cheers to the people there, cheers to this Secret Service detail and the secondary team that was doing their job correctly.
Chanted USA back. When asked about this moment, McMillan said, quote, "As for letting him pose for the photo op, there's always a degree of conflict between the personal protection detail and the political asset.
There's never been posing for a photo op. That's not part of Secret Service. What Secret Service has done in the past, when situations like this have occurred, they are to tackle the president, even if they break his bones, with force, and create a flesh cocoon around him, keep him in that flesh cocoon, and get him the hell out of there as quickly as humanly possible, and ignore any orders that he gives. That's what they're supposed to do. So, if there's one failure for the first team there, it's that. But he's a big dude, okay? And he wasn't... He was fighting them, I guarantee you. Be like, no, I'm letting these people know that I am okay. It's not about me, it's about them. Again, his heart for the people of the United States of America. Not just MAGA. This is how he cares about everyone in America. White, yellow, black, blue, purple, red. Doesn't matter. He loves this country, and he loves the people of this country. I'm going to dedicate a whole episode, maybe more, to in the past when President Trump, well before he was president, has just acts of kindness, random acts of kindness. There's multitudes of stories out there. So, with that, let's get back to it.
One's entire mission is to protect their asset, the other's is to be political. I also saw firsthand when then Vice President Biden deviated from the pre-planned path to shake people's hands during a 2013 visit to Savannah. The agents on the ground then escorted Trump to a predetermined evacuation point roughly 50 meters to the rear of the stage in a reinforced armored truck. At this point, roughly 2 minutes after the first shots rang out, he's evacuated and his motorcade then sped to a hospital where he received treatment. Swarms of additional units then make their way to the stage. As a result of the assassination attempt, one attendee was killed and 2 others were injured who are still in critical condition.
Oh, I can't remember his name right now, but the firefighter. So, most likely the bullet that went through President Trump's earlobe struck a firefighter who was huddling and holding his family, protecting his. He was being a flesh cocoon for them, and sadly he passed immediately. I think that's the screams, just the blood-curdling scream you can hear initially in the raw footage. If you want to see that raw footage, it's also on my YouTube channel. It's also on my X here. You'll have to scroll down a bit, though, to see it now. It is in my highlights, though. It'll be easier to access there. It's hard to watch, though. It really is. That's the hardest part for me, was hearing the blood-curdling scream. Especially now that I know what it probably was. It was probably that firefighter's wife and or daughter seeing their dad and their husband laying there dead with a grotesque bullet wound that ended his life. Cheers to you, sir. You're a patriot, and you will not be forgotten. There should be memorials raised around this country for you, sir.
From the rounds that missed the president. When I watched the video of what happened last night, it filled me with a visceral reaction of disgust and anger. It made me concerned for my country. I'm praying that somehow we can find a way to emerge from this tragedy stronger than before and show that we won't let the deranged acts of one individual tear us apart.
Okay, let's stop there. This is where I start disagreeing with this individual. What have we been doing as a people for far too long now? The number one thing I would say is we just shut up and take it. Well, crisis averted, let's move on with our lives. We can't do that anymore. Okay? I understand being a good and moral human being, we want to, and moral to a point. I'm very immoral in areas of my life, and we all are if we're going to be honest with each other. And then there's just evil, immoral, constantly immoral sons of bitches out there. Commie-crats, the Democrats. And when I say that, commie-crats, Democrats, I'm not saying all Democrats in this country are evil. Okay? Most people, the vast majority of people in this country, whether they identify as Republican or Democrat, we're all Americans, and we're just doing the best to get by, live our lives, and provide for our families. I'm talking about the scum that run things, commie-crats, the Democrats in power, and the rhinos in power. They're commie-crats too. They're communists. They're Marxists. All they care about is themselves. They're disgusting. Well, going back to what I was saying, what will it take for us to peacefully assemble and scare the shit out of Washington, D.C. in the process? Peacefully. Okay? January 6th was not an insurrectionist riot, but it was against the law. Okay? The people that are rotting in jail cells right now for far too long, they should have been there for a little while, for trespassing. A week, maybe, if that. No prior offenses, maybe probation. They're still rotting in jail right now. Okay. That's a whole nother topic, though. I don't want to go down that. I can dedicate an episode to that. What I'm trying to say here is, what will it take to wake us up as Americans and to peacefully assemble, which is our right in the Constitution, to address our grievances to Washington, D.C.? It's not happening yet, but I think what most people are thinking now is, okay, November's right around the corner. I'm voting. Fuck Washington, D.C. I'm voting. But guys, we got to do more. Trump has fought for us, and we need to fight for him. And what I mean by fight is not violence. It's peacefully assembling, and in a way that scares the shit out of the elite in Washington, where they feel our numbers, they feel our presence, and not just for a day or a week or a month, but for months on end, people are there in person, pressuring Washington. And the swamp creatures that inhabit it will not get any sleep for that entire time, to the point that they crack and finally start to address our grievances. That's the way to do it, peacefully. Because the only alternative to that, besides voting and getting someone in the White House and the House and the Senate being on the right side of the aisle, the pro-American side of the aisle, not the commie-crat, Marxist scum side of the aisle, is a new revolutionary war, which I don't want. I don't want a civil war that's going to cost hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of Americans' lives. But if we have to go there, then so be it, to save this great nation. But I don't want that. That's last resort. We have a lot of stuff we can still do. So it's time to be courageous and stand the fuck up. Start doing something. Sign up to be a poll worker in your local jurisdiction, your caucus or your precinct. And I'm pointing, but I'm pointing 3 fingers back because I need to do the same thing. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm pledging to you today. I'm going to sign up to be a poll worker. And I'm going to go there. I'm going to volunteer and I'm going to do my duty. I wasn't going to before, but after this happened, if I'm going to preach at you to do it, then I need to do it.
This is a satellite image of the venue where the rally was held at Butler Farms Showgrounds near Butler, Pennsylvania. It's a wide open outdoor field with ground level and rooftop visibility that extends over 100 meters in every direction. The gunman was able to somehow evade security and managed to get onto this rooftop here. It's about 420 feet or 130 meters away from the podium and stage where Trump was giving his speech. He was on a one-story building with a pitch that's probably...
I saw another video today. See that little ladder there? See that little ladder? So people from the field, like he was crawling that ladder, and then that's how he got up there. You see his rifle over there. On the opposite end of this building that we can't see is the field. And people on the other side, numerous people were pointing, saying, there's a guy with a rifle crawling on the roof up there. They're screaming at the local police. Go, go, like, look. And they didn't do anything. The local cops. Now, the local cops are not trained like the Secret Service are. Okay, so I'll give them a little, very slight pass here. I'm not a pro-cop person anyways. Not that the cops have ever personally fucked me over or anything. I just see it all around that, all they care about is themselves and collecting their paychecks. So, not a big pro-cop person. Just say that right now. If you're at a presidential event as a police officer and someone is telling you that, hey, there's a dude with a rifle up there, go, get up there, and then you don't, fuck you. You're a fucking coward. And you're just collecting a paycheck. So this is my first grievance with what happened on Saturday. Is the local police that were there fucking failed. And fuck you. Why didn't you do your fucking jobs? You know, you swore an oath. You raised your right hand, put your left hand on the Bible, and you swore an oath to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States against enemies, foreign and domestic. I did the same thing as a U.S. Marine. I was 18 years old, and I still live by that. But you didn't mean that pledge, because when shit hit the fan here, you just stood there and did jack shit. See, the same thing with school shootings today. Disgusts me. Police officers in full body armor just hanging outside, and shots are being fired inside the school that they can hear. Shame on you, you cowardly, pathetic piece of shit that's just collecting a paycheck off of taxpayer dollars. You are the worst kind of scum. Fuck you.
About 25 feet in elevation. Law enforcement reported the shooter used an AR-style rifle recovered at the scene. This suggests that it's most likely a 5.56 round. If that's the case, with a scope, 130 meters is an incredibly easy shot for someone who knows how to shoot. The 6 to 8 bullets appeared to miss President Trump, but
I'm going to pause there too. I was a U.S. Marine. Am still a U.S. Marine. Excuse me. Freudian slip. Open sights, M16, which is your generic assault rifle. Which, another thing I'll say real quick. All those idiots out there that saying this was an assault rifle, it wasn't. Well, maybe it was. I don't know. I can't speak to that. From how it appeared there, it looked like a hunting rifle to me with a scope on it. Might have been an assault rifle. But your AR-15 is what you civilians know it as. Mine was an M16. The Marines now use a smaller version, an M4. Okay, which I wish we would have had. That's a little badass thing. Anyways, M16 open sights, which means just iron sights. They're little. One on the front, one on the back. They're about that far apart, which is about 1.5 feet. I would be able, in prone position, to nail someone in the head, the target, little paper targets, 500 yards away. Now, I'm a Marine, okay? I was trained as a Marine. I had no shooting experience beforehand, and they say that the best shooters they get in the Marines are those that don't have any prior training because they have bad habits coming in. So I was an expert rifleman for 5 years straight, an expert pistolman for 3 out of 4 years, and a pistol sharpshooter 1 of those years. But with a rifleman, to put that into context in civilian terms, you're like 500 yards. What is that? If I was sitting on the furthest tee box on a par 5 course that could see the green from the tee, I could drop someone on the green with 1 shot. Yeah, and that's a trained, expert rifleman in the U.S. Marine Corps. I couldn't do that today. I'm fat and have a beard, a lot of hair, and yeah. But in my prime, man, bam, you're fucking dead. Why do I say that? This guy was only 150 yards away with probably, if not the same high-powered rifle, he had a decent rifle to do this with. And I should have had that rifle for this broadcast. I'll get it. I'll research it more. But it doesn't matter. Like, 150 yards, you could be standing. That was like our shortest distance, I think. No, yeah. 100 yards was our shortest target, and we would stand for that one. And you could hit those targets easy as all day with your eyes closed with a rifle. So I think it was 150 yards, which is exactly how far this was.
By only a few millimeters after he turned his head slightly to the right.
This is where I want to interject with God. God isn't just in control some of the times. You hear the narrative out there now, and let me check the time. Yeah, we're at time already, so I'm going to shut up. We'll go long tonight. Let me check the chat and everything, see if anyone's here, just in case you guys want to chime in, because I don't want to just be bloviating and boring everyone to death. But it still says 2 viewers, which means someone popped in and out on X, more than likely. That's okay. Okay, it's just me, so I'll just keep going. Yeah, God's always in control, guys. That's what I've learned in my 41 years on this planet. Took me a while to learn that. Just recently, like a few years ago, actually. It's when I finally came to grips with God's providence and just resting in that. You know, getting back to my little image there that says, "Don't worry about tomorrow." I still do. I do every day. You know, God forgive me for that, but and we all do, right? But to live in true peace and joy, just worry about today. And don't even worry about today, and just know that God has you. God cares for you. Jesus died for you on the cross. Why do I say all that in this context? Because not just what happened on Saturday is God's providence and His doing. You hear people saying, I don't know if this was divine intervention or not. It's always divine intervention. Every second is a miracle. Every breath you take is a miracle. If God wants to no longer allow you to breathe, then guess what? Your life's over. Like, if God doesn't want me to have this shelter, have my pets, He doesn't want you to have your family, He can take them away at any second. He's God. But He doesn't, because He loves you. And He gives you all these wonderful things that we just take for granted. So what happened to Trump on Saturday is no exception. Of course, it's shocking to us from our perspective. But from God's perspective, He's sitting there going, I got this. I got everything. Ye of little faith. How many times did Jesus say that to His disciples? Ye of little faith. And what He was saying was, you don't understand how much I love you, how much I care for you, how every intimate detail of your lives I am caring for and allowing to happen. Not that He controls us like puppets. The best analogy I can say for who we are and who God is was, I just thought of this yesterday, a bobsled, right? A bobsledder race where they have the bobsled, what do you even call that? Bobsleigh course, and then you have the bobsledders, and they get in the sled, right? And they push off. And the driver of that sled, he can turn left, he can turn right, he can crash the sled. But the course is already designed by the creator of that course, God, right? Is what I'm trying to say. And no matter what that driver does, they're going to slide down there, even if it's on the side or the tops of their heads. They're going to slide to the very end and cross the finish line, whether they be alive or dead. So that's how I put free will, is we do have the free will to make our decisions, but God has already charted all of our paths. And He has charted Donald J. Trump's path to have a bullet ripped through his earlobe on Saturday. And don't doubt it for a second. So when I hear these people on the radio, I don't know if it was divine intervention or not. Everything's divine. The path's already been charted. So God was definitely involved. And always is. With that, I'll shut up.
gunman might have aimed for the head because it wouldn't be unheard of for a politician to wear body armor during a speech. It looks like the Secret Service counter sniper team were using what looks to be a special version of the bolt action Remington 700 with a suppressor firing a 300 Winchester Magnum round with a powerful variable scope for.
I didn't want to see the assassin's face after he took one of these. That is a badass weapon. He probably didn't have much of a head left after that, and fuck him, he deserved it.
Reference that's got
Having said that, okay, I gotta dial that back for a bit. Please pray for his family, his friends, his circles. He's probably burning in hell right now, just to be blunt. Someone who's a true believer in Jesus Christ would never try to assassinate a president. I know a lot of us have read the Left Behind books and all that. That's not how Christians act. Even if it's the Antichrist, you don't, as a born-again believer, you don't go after and try to kill the Antichrist. That's going to be a secular person that tries to do that in the future. Anyways, I digress. This assassin's burning in hell. That's pretty obvious. Sad. Don't want anyone to go to hell, but hell's a reality. It's a reality of people not embracing a loving God and accepting Jesus Christ as their King and Savior who died on the cross for them. But again, I digress. I'll do more live streams in the future on this. Please pray for his family and his loved ones and his circle of friends, all that. People that weren't even his friends but knew him personally. Pray for them, that they'll be comforted, that they'll find, that Jesus Christ will find them through the Holy Spirit, and their lives will be transformed for the better and not the worse.
Substantial recoil and pinpoint accuracy out to 800 meters and beyond. To the point of what McMillan was saying earlier, this is the type of rifle that you'd be looking for.
And of course, pray for the families of the firefighter that was lost, the patriot, the two people that are still in critical condition or serious condition at the hospital. Pray for Trump and his family and friends and his circles. All of that goes without being said.
Or for extended range threats beyond 150 meters. This video posted on X of the counter sniper team has 15 million views with.
So again, at such a short range, it caved his head in when it hit him.
People disagreeing on whether or not the would-be assassin took the first shot or if the counter sniper team fired first. The way I look at the security measures are that they're a tiered and layered approach. The sniper team is.
That's a good point here. I'm going to go back a little and just replay the footage. Because when I first saw this, I was pissed. Not going to lie. And you can see it on my X. I posted on my X. It's still up. My reaction to this video.
50 meters.
The shots are fired at Trump first. It appears that the agent is waiting, that he sees something. But again, what he's saying makes sense, that he's maybe scanning. When you're looking through a scope, it's very narrow vision, especially with this weapon. And so he doesn't even see the guy crawling with his rifle at such a close range, because I can't. Can you guys see my cursor here? Hopefully. See, his rifle here is pointed way out in the distance. 150 yards from him is down here. Okay? So when he's looking through this scope, he doesn't even see the shooter who's down here. And hopefully you guys can see my cursor. And the same thing with this sniper. So in the future, hopefully what Secret Service will do is have another spotter. No, that's a bag. They should have a spotter there that's looking at close range, and then can tap the sniper on the shoulder and be like, hey, there's a fucking threat right here. That would be a thing to look at.
This video posted on X of the Counter Sniper team has 15 million views, with people disagreeing on whether or not the would-be assassin took the first shot or if the Counter Sniper team fired first. The way I look at
So there, Trump grabs his ear, and then he shoots.
the security measures,
Right? So let's just go back real quick.
on whether or not the would-be assassin took the first shot or if the Counter Sniper team fired first.
Shot,
The way I look at the security measures are that they're a tier.
So it's like boom, boom. Now what I am going to look at real quick, because I was saying, hey, look at the elevation of his rifle. Let's see if his elevation moves up or down here. Because this is a really good point, guys, and I want you to key in on this. If his rifle stays at this elevation the entire time, then shame on this fucker. Because he saw this the entire time, and he chose not to take that shot before he heard a shot ring out against President Trump. So let's see if the elevation of his rifle changes up or down.
On X of the Counter Sniper team has 15 million views, with people disagreeing on whether or not the would-be assassin took the first shot or if the Counter Sniper team fired first. The way
It doesn't appear like his rifle moved at all. Ooh. What do you guys think? Leave your comments.
This video posted on X of the Counter Sniper team has 15 million views, with people disagreeing on whether or not the would-be assassin took the first shot or if the Counter Sniper team fired first. The way I look at a secure.
I see the recoil of his weapon. That's the only thing I see move here. And that is a shame. That's a real shame.
Sniper team has 15 million views, with people disagreeing on whether or not the would-be assassin took the first shot or if the Counter Sniper team fired first. The way I look at a
I was hoping I could vindicate these guys. I want to take a moment right here. If you were at the rally in Pennsylvania and you happen to see this, the likelihood of that is very minimal. But if you do, and you still have footage of it, please do not send it to the FBI or the Secret Service. Get with a lawyer and show them the footage, please. A good, independent lawyer. Doesn't have to be pro-Trump, but definitely don't get it with a Democrat lawyer. But anyone out there that sees this, that was at the rally, has footage of this, or just footage of the rally. You never know what you captured. Guys, what I see here is no elevation change in the barrel of that rifle. Which means this guy was scoping in. Really let this sink in, okay? I just talked to you about the scope, how narrow of a view it is. It means he's watching this guy on the roof. Can definitely see his rifle, because rifles stick out ahead of you. Unless the rifleman grabbed it at the last second and just shot blindly, I highly doubt that, because of the accuracy of which that shot was fired that nicked the president in the ear. I hate to say this, but it appears these guys were sitting there watching it unfold and waiting for the first shot to be fired against Trump. If that is the case, if that is actually what happened here, then those two individuals you see on this roof are traitors to the United States of America. Not just traitors, they're high traitors. And we all know how that should end. At the end of a rope. They need to go to treason trials if that is what actually happened. And this video is very compelling evidence of that fact. Again, I was in the U.S. Marines for 5 years. I know and have been around high-powered weapons that only the government is allowed to be around. I saw zero elevation change in this guy's rifle, which means he was watching this unfold and waiting audibly to hear the shot against President Trump. What are your guys' thoughts? I would love to hear it.
Has 15 million views, with people disagreeing on whether or not the would-be assassin took the first shot or if the counter sniper team fired first. The way I look at the security measures are that they're a tiered and layered approach. The sniper team is one of the last lines of defense. If they're
So see, this whole argument that he's having now breaks down because it's obvious by that video that Trump grabbed his ear first, and then you see the rifle of the sniper kick. Go back and watch it for yourself. Do it in slow motion. So this just totally is all bullshit at this point. What he's about to say.
Pulling triggers, that means a lot of other steps have already gone wrong, because ideally a shooter should never even have gotten within a mile of an elevated clear shot of the form.
I will agree with this. That's the other thing that people need to be talking about. The advanced Secret Service team, which is supposed to be the bread and butter Secret Service. They're the best of the best. And they go literally, they map out the whole area well ahead of the event taking place. Days, if not weeks ahead. Conducting background checks of all the individuals in the area. Going through every single building in the area. And if any of those buildings or elevations, trees, any of that is a threat, the Secret Service flags it, makes sure that it is completely 100% under their control before they even allow the VIP to come into that area. So shame on them. They are ultimately responsible for this, the advanced team. But the point I'm trying to make now, and after watching this again, and there's no elevation change in that sniper's rifle, and he's looking through his scope that entire time, tells me he's just watching and waiting for the rifleman to shoot, and then he shoots back. Disgusting. It's a conspiracy, guys. It's a deep state conspiracy. To add further credence to that, the rifleman was a registered Republican, or at least we're told that. We're told that. This is the information we're allowed to know. Okay? But it wouldn't surprise me even if he was. Because if the deep state comes and gets a hold of you, some random dude, and the guy, you look at the guy, he looks like a total loner loser, so he's prime for the deep state to stick their hooks into. Hey man, if you don't fucking do this, we're gonna kill your family, we're gonna kill all your friends, we're gonna fuck your life up even more than it's already fucked up. What do you think about that, Mr. Little Republican? The deep state is real. And they are extremely evil people. These are people that are unelected, think they know better than everyone else because they've attained a power position in the U.S. federal government. And they sit there on their thrones. These are the unelected kings and queens of America. And they're acting just like it. You all are peasants in their eyes. You don't understand. You are trash. They're the monarchs. You're the peasants. That's how they view themselves. If you don't believe me, go to the O'Keefe channel, James O'Keefe, on any platform, Rumble, YouTube. Go watch his videos on X. And watch some of these CIA agents or these FBI agents and how they talk when they don't think they're on camera about you, the people. They view you as cattle, as scum. But they're the scum. They're the evil. They're the cancer to this country. They're so blinded by power and wealth, and mostly power, that they can't even see the end result, which is if this country collapses, they collapse with it. That's how deranged and demonic and sick these people are in the head. They can't see past just all the good stuff they have in their life at this present moment. Not only that, they take that and they say, it's all me. I did this. No, God allowed you to get to that point. But if we the people get fucked over, ultimately they will get fucked over too. And that's why I just can't comprehend the psychology of these people. They're absolutely deranged. It doesn't surprise me one bit if there was a deep state conspiracy last Saturday. Not one bit.
Former president. People are inevitably going to be picking apart the split-second decisions of the first responders, and I can understand why there's some value in that. But I think the more important question is, how much resources and funding were they given based on the tempo of their operations, and how big was Trump's Secret Service personnel detail? How many resources did they have available to them? How thin were they spread? In Tim McMillan's analysis, he stated, quote, based on limited details at this point, in my opinion, the security breakdown occurred in the middle tier, which would likely include law enforcement who were supposed to be assigned to the area near the outbuildings. History was at a fork in the road here that was determined by less than an inch in a fraction of a second. This building that the gunman took up a firing position on is not a part of the Butler Farm Show perimeter. It lies just outside and belongs to a different company called AGR International. They're a supplier of automation equipment for glass and plastic packaging, but that could be one potential reason.
He's continuing to try to argue and dismiss the advance team, saying, oh, well, they couldn't check this building because it's outside of, well, obviously it wasn't outside. It was 150 fucking yards away from where the stage was. So that's a really stupid statement.
As to why this happened, because it was outside the perimeter of the event. But beyond a few trees, there's nothing between the president, just a wide open field that separates the two. The Secret Service advance team would have created a plan weeks in advance that normally would have identified every single elevated potential sniper position within line of sight. A quick count shows there are about 18 buildings that have a clear line of sight that I've marked for you on the map. Agents would normally either have someone posted up on each location, or they would strictly control access to all these buildings on the ground days in advance. I actually have some idea of how these operations work because over 10 years ago in 2015, President Obama visited a place that I was working at. The Secret Service came to our building weeks in advance for preparation. They did a background check on me and everyone who worked there to make sure none of us were a bunch of weirdos. The Secret Service entirely blocked off access to multiple blocks in Midtown New York City. They even parked a row of garbage trucks from the city all around the building to prevent vehicle-borne IEDs from driving into or slamming through the perimeter checkpoints. They spared no expense, did multiple bomb sweeps in advance, and checked to ensure the building was empty the night before. This is called a sterilizing operation, where they do these kind of clean sweeps. Agents were thorough and detailed.
Okay, and that was for President Obama. Who's definitely a Marxist commie crap. Okay, so it's a difference. I don't know if he goes on to say that, so I'm going to let him finish his thought here, but I want to put my thought in there just in case he doesn't. Obama was he was the most well-protected president in the history of the United States. Because not only A, was he black, and we have to say it, okay? I'm not being racist here. I'm saying that he was the first black president. And you have a bunch of right-wing nutjob establishments like the KKK and all those fuckers who would want to go and off such a guy just because of the color of his skin. Fuck you, KKK. Fuck you, neo-Nazis. You're all a bunch of trash on the right wing. The right wing has trash. The left wing is all trash, in my humble opinion. but because they've been overtaken. Again, not normal people. Okay, discount if you've been a Democrat all your life and were a JFK Democrat and had to go through that, I understand why you're still a Democrat, because you're galvanized into your party. Because JFK's Democratic Party was a great thing for this country in a lot of ways. I need to quit being so long-winded here. I need to wrap up because we're going to an hour. But what I'm saying here, this point, is just because he got checked out under the Obama administration doesn't mean it translates to Secret Service today, especially with all the DEI and woke bullshit that's infiltrating the FBI and the Secret Service. It's a completely different entity now than it was, 12 years ago? No, 8 years ago. Excuse me.
However, it's possible that the former president was not granted the same size security service for his detail or security funding.
Okay, so that's good that he said that. What I basically just said.
My understanding is that former President Trump would have had an increased security detail available to him as soon as he officially became the Republican nominee this week. Information is still coming out, and we still have a lot to learn in the coming days and weeks, but normally those buildings...
Which that's really crazy to think about. We've never lived through this in American history before, which is nuts. We've never had a former president that then did not become president again right away, that had to skip a term to become president again for the very next term anyways. And especially this did not happen under Secret Service, so President Trump's Secret Service be very interesting to see if it does, because that has to be signed off by Joe Biden himself. Okay? So we need to watch that, guys, and please report back to me if you watch this video. Just send me a DM on X. I accept DMs. I don't care. Like, I no spam when I see it, and I can filter through that bullshit. But if you find some reliable news, if Joe Biden has signed or vetoed Trump's increase in Secret Service, let me know.
Especially ones that are that close in proximity, would have had access restricted, which is why this eyewitness account is all the more concerning.
We noticed a guy crawling, bear crawling up the
restricted, which is why...
Oh yeah, I totally forgot about this part, and credit and kudos to you, FUBAR wearing t-shirt guy, for running this.
This eyewitness account is all the more concerning.
We noticed a guy crawling, bear crawling up the roof of the building beside us, 50 feet away from us. So we're standing there, we're pointing at the guy crawling up the roof.
And he had a gun, right?
He had a rifle. We could clearly see him with a rifle. Absolutely.
There were thousands of people at this event, though, and this early testimony is still being verified. The House Oversight Committee has already called on Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle to testify to Congress about what...
He had a rifle. We could clearly see him with a rifle.
Since then, there's been not only just testimony like this, but actual video footage from people filming the rifleman crawling up the backside of the roof. And not only that, but screaming at law enforcement, hey, cops, look what's happening right now. And nothing was done. There's a great video, and I wish I would have had it prepped for today. I'm going to do it tomorrow, so this will be a two-parter, guys. I'm going to finish up with this video today, and then we'll do part 2 tomorrow. I know this was supposed to be a celebration all week with the Republican National Convention, but then Saturday happened, and we need to focus on what matters. Friday will still be Fun Friday, and we will go into that. How much more do I have on this? 3 minutes? Ooh. Yeah, I'm still gonna talk a bit. So, you know what? With this, guys, I'm gonna call it for the day, because I don't want my videos to be
would have had access restricted, which is why this eyewitness account is all the more concerning.
We noticed...
Okay, so we're going to stop there. We're going to hear this guy's testimony tomorrow, and then I'm going to have that video prepped and all the videos I can find on actual footage of the riflemen crawling and people crying out to police officers saying, look, like, fucking do something. So this guy's testimony has been vetted and verified at this point. But we'll get back at it tomorrow. Sorry to be so long-winded, but this is a lot of stuff to unpack, and it's very, very important. Not just because it was Trump, not just because it happened recently, but because it's going to echo throughout our history as Americans, and we're at a fork in the road. Which road are we going to take? The right road or the wrong road? And we get to decide that in November. So having said that, guys, thank you for watching. Again, this is part 1 of 2. Part 2 will be tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Mountain Time, and 5 p.m. Pacific Time. With that, guys, have a wonderful evening. Cheers, and God bless.